we're going to go over by far my most notable camera operating technique that sets me apart from my competitors in the field of music videos, and arguably the most powerful music video technique to master due to the fact that not everyone can afford a gimbal right off the bat. So this technique will buy you loads of time to save up for that gimbal. And keep this one thing in mind before we jump into this tutorial. Being an advanced handheld shooter will outperform any amateur to mid-tier filmmaker using only a gimbal on their sets. Let's get right into this. Cameras with IBIS or in-body image stabilization. When filming with cameras that have IBIS built in, this will allow you to implement some crazy handheld walking shots. If you don't have any sort of IBIS, you can still pull off music video shots while moving around, but keep in mind that your footage will still come out as a little shaky. When filming with IBIS, I use a few different shooting techniques. 1. I walk in and out from the artist with a wider focal length, and as I push in on the artist, I will slightly twist the camera inwards or outwards, then vice versa when I'm pulling back out.
How to stay low key to make hits. If you close to me, then follow me. I'm collecting fast, they watch this shit. 10K on my hand, I spread that shit. Bitch, you know that.
Number 2, when I'm filming a more laid-back song, I point the camera at the artist and I transfer my weight from one leg to another to give off a natural handheld movement within my shot.
I'm collecting fast, they watch this shit. 10K on my hand, I spread that shit. Bitch, you know that shit can't stop on feast. Used to pray for this, they made it lit. They ignore my shit, I made them see.
3. This tip is for much more upbeat music videos, especially in the rap genre. When an artist has back-to-back upbeat lines in their song, I will have the camera sit at an angle off to the side, and before the next line hits, I quickly shift the camera to the opposite side at a completely different angle. The artist's eyes and face will naturally track the camera as it moves while they're still singing their performance scene.
My bitch is bad, she a lit girl. She throw it back like a free throw. Can I compete? I got skills, bro. My music hard is that lit talk. Float in the air like I'm Flintstone. I just get high till I'm sleep, bro. City lit, I'm the hero. You niggas stop at that wing ho. My bitch is bad, she a lit girl. She throw it back like a free throw. Can I compete? I got skills, bro. My music hard is that lit talk. My music hard is that lit talk.
4th, if the artist is either slowly walking towards me or sitting down, I aggressively turn the camera by almost 180 degrees at the very beginning of their lines. I aggressively turn the camera during their first or second word of each line. This aggressive turn in the camera looks extremely hype and upbeat, and in my opinion, isn't used enough.
My bitch is bad, she a lit girl. She throw it back like a free throw. Can I compete? I got skills, bro. My music hard is that lit talk. Float in the air like
Cameras with no in-body image stabilization. Now it's funny, even though all of my cameras other than my Red Komodo 6K cinema camera all have IBIS built in, I still, a lot of the times, find myself with IBIS turned off. The reason for this is because when I'm filming a rap music video that is very high energy and upbeat, the natural shakiness from the camera with IBIS turned off gives off such a raw emotion shot and is an easy shot to cut to or cut out of during your edit. Before we get too deep into handheld shots with IBIS turned off, we need to establish our handheld stance, grip, and arm placement. The grip of the camera has already been established in our last module, so moving into our arm placement. We want to suck our elbows tight into our sides as this secures another point of contact to help us capture a smooth handheld shot. Our handheld stance is going to consist of a slight bend of the knees and loose upper body and hips. This one is going to take some time to get used to because you won't be used to the weird bent over handheld movements at first. But over time, your body will loosen up. I always see beginner handheld shooters just looking so stiff when they're filming, which won't give the same quality of handheld movement that you see in some of the music videos I've filmed. Next up, we have flip out screen tips. When using a flip out screen, as mentioned in our how to grip a camera body module, I flip the screen out so the screen rests on my forearm. If I'm filming a handheld shot at eye level with the artist, I place the screen back inside of the camera so I can place my eyes forward and keep the camera straight at all times rather than looking slightly to the left at a flipped out screen. Fold out screens were something I had to get used to after coming from a Lumix GH4 and GH5, which both had flip out screens. Upgrading to the Lumix S1, which has a fold-out screen, it really had to grow on me, but I grew to love it. There isn't much technique to using a fold-out screen other than tilting it wherever it feels most comfortable for your eyes. Our first handheld technique is going to be the twist and pull. We can do these in many different variations. 1. Pushing in on the artist. Today's video is sponsored by Epidemic Sound. I've been using Epidemic Sound for 6 years, whether it's for paid client video work or my YouTube content. My favorite feature Epidemic has to offer is their AI video upload song matching tool. Simply upload test footage of a project you're working on to Epidemic Sound, and their AI platform will spit out a long list of songs that match the vibe and pace of your video, saving you hours of finding royalty-free music that fits the vibe of your visuals. Not only do you get a library of thousands of royalty-free music, but you also get access to thousands of realistic sound effects. Click the link below to get a free 30-day trial to Epidemic Sound that can be cancelled at any time. No commitment necessary. Now let's get back to the video. 1. Pushing in on the artist. Ninja walking while twisting the camera in on them, moving quickly.
Sometimes I get tired of all this feeling. You know I'm a soldier, I achieve it. I just change my life, I hope you see it. Money was the only thing that healed me. Swerving lanes, I still ain't get a ticket. Talk too much, I had to tell him zip it. It ain't broke, I sit and let him fix it. I be in the city and I slide. I be in the city, I get high. Go and do your homework, be and fly. Go and check the score, it's really high. Shorty, please come closer, I don't bite. Riding with no rooftop and we cruising, but she fine. Blondie with no manner, she act, cause she treat me nice.
Shot number 2. Stationary shooter shot, pulling, pushing, and twisting the camera at a fast rate to add more of a hype looking shot to your footage.
You heard so bad, she treat me right. Queen City's the town, I still got hope to make it out. If you just an up, just get in line and got the time. Spilling, she don't follow you, may slide and lose your life. I don't say too much, sometimes I get tired of all these speeches. Sometimes I get tired of all this feeling. You know I'm a soldier, I achieve it. I just change my life, I hope you see it. Money was the only thing that healed me. Swerving lanes, I still ain't get a ticket.
And last but not least, a slow twist, pull shot when panning past props. This could be a pan past money, a car emblem or interior, liquor, marijuana, jewelry, etc. Next up, we have performance scenes with your IBIS turned off. Always keep this saying in the back of your mind. Vibe with the artist's movement and song, but don't get too carried away. I see a lot of amateur filmmakers shooting handheld shots and they just don't seem to flow with the artist's movement or their song and choose to film handheld because they want to mix up their camera techniques throughout their music video set. When an artist's hand points to the sky, quickly pan up to the artist's hand to the sky and track it back down, ending on their face. When an artist is throwing a lot of hand movements up at you and you feel overwhelmed and lost at what movement to make, just resort back to the beat of the song and move the camera to the beat of the song. I like shooting my handheld shots jolting the camera from left to right with very sudden movements. I almost make a little C motion when I pan the camera from left to right. But notice how my elbows are hinged and I'm actually using my hips and torso to move the camera rather than my wrists and arms, and check out the stance on my feet. I'm shifting my weight from one leg to the other, soaking my knees, and sometimes slightly rolling from toe to heel. I'm keeping my movement tight and focusing on the composition and movement of the camera more than anything. Whip pan transitions are a very effective handheld technique to use when chopping up your performance scenes in your edit. I start with pointing the camera completely away from the artist, and when a new line of the song comes in, I very quickly, within a split second, pan straight onto their face but keep the natural controlled shaky handheld movement going. Right before their line is about to end, I pan to the opposite side quickly, and when the new line drops in, I again split second whip pan back to the artist's face. The whip pan is an in-camera transition that is a great shot to lean on when you need a tighter angle of the artist's face that is also high energy. When you're filming a laid-back song handheld, I like to capture a tighter camera angle of the artist's face. I transfer the weight from one leg to another if I'm standing up, slowly swaying back and forth. If I'm sitting down and capturing a slower laid-back handheld shot, I lean my entire upper body back and forth while playing around with different camera angles of the camera. I personally like to ever so slightly twist the camera as I'm swaying my upper body back and forth. Dutch angles are great for giving your footage a distorted, out of the ordinary look. I like filming Dutch angles for slow motion, medium focal length B-roll scenes, as well as height performance scenes while ninja walking up to the artist. To achieve a Dutch angle, you want to tilt your camera at around a 45-degree angle and keep it there. It sounds unorthodox, but this is a surprisingly very common music video shooting technique, even when you get to the higher budget level productions. When I'm filming a performance scene with IBIS turned off, a very easy but intermediate looking trick to do is stand completely still, shoot your performance scene handheld at a medium to tight focal length, capturing the artist from the bottom of the chest to the top of their head, and add a keyframe towards the artist's face. It doesn't have to be a fast keyframe, just a very slight keyframe by maybe a 15 to 20% zoom in. This is something you can add to your handheld performance scenes on almost every single one of your performance scenes where you're standing still and capturing your scene with IBIS turned off as well as your IBIS turned on.